Well, Maruti cars have been known to offer you good value, reliability as well as fuel efficient engines. But Maruti now wants to add the words stylish as well as desirable to that list. And the car that they plan to do it with is the Vitara Brezza. So I'll stop talking now and allow the car's visuals to do the talking. Vitara Brezza's cabin comes across as a very sporty place to be in, and a large part of that goes to the fact that it is a black cabin. It's not got any beige into it, which is a good thing because beige does tend to soil rather easily. So in that sense it's good, and also it feels very premium and very sporty to sit in. And this car really does come feature loaded. You get all the kit that is available at the moment in the Maruti stable. Of course, you get this huge 7-inch screen which houses the stereo system as well as the GPS enabled maps, and it also doubles up as the screen for the reverse camera. So in that sense it is pretty well loaded, and it's also very easy to operate. It's like an iPad, so in that sense it's pretty good. This car also comes with Apple's CarPlay system, just like the Maruti Baleno does. And the best part about any Maruti car, of course, is the fact that the seats are supreme for comfort, and the Vitara Brezza is no different. Support for the lower back is excellent, the side bolstering is really good, and the seat scob is very cushiony as well. And because it is very wide as well as long, what that means is that even the tallest of passengers will not feel tired and will be very comfortable on those long journeys. Well, in terms of storage spaces, you get two big glove boxes. There's one over here on top and there's one just below it. And you also get very big door bins which have a lot of place to house big bottles in them. So it is a very practical car for those long highway trips. Well, by now I am sure that you know my height is 5'10" for reference, and I always do adjust the front seat for my driving position and my height. Well, remember, this is a compact SUV. It is under 4 meters in length, so don't expect it to offer you loads of room, but even then it has got very good knee room, and I have place below the front seats where I can stretch my feet. Well, and as you can see, headroom is also massive. In fact, I can position my hand over here between the roof and my head. So even if you are a very tall passenger, then the back seat of this car should be a good place for you. Well, it's also pretty wide car at the back, which means that you can generally house 3 over here. There is a bit of a hump in the floor panel, but it should not be too much of an issue because the footwells are pretty big and pretty deep, and what that means is that whoever's sitting here has plenty of place to keep his feet at. And what also adds to the appeal is the fact that the seat comfort is excellent, the cushioning is very good, and this car really does offer a very good backrest angle. The support for the lower back is good as well. So in terms of space as well as comfort, a job well done from Maruti. Even though the Vitara Brezza is a compact SUV, remember it is under 4 meters in length. In terms of boot capacity, it is very impressive. The best part is that it's a very well-shaped boot. It is a very square and boxy boot, which means that you can load in those big luggage pieces or those big boxes when you are shifting home without any fuss at all. Also, if you remove the parcel shelf over here, the capacity is increased all the way up to the roof, which makes it a great car for those big airport transfers as well as those long highway trips. Well, so here I am driving the new Vitara Brezza, and this car, remember, comes with a 1.3 litre diesel engine. It's a DDiS motor from Maruti. Now this engine makes about 89 bhp of power and about 200 Nm of torque in this car, and that's a very good figure considering it's a very small capacity motor. Being a small capacity motor also means that it is very fuel efficient, and if you do tank this car up, then it'll have a range of almost about 800 odd kilometers on the highway, which is phenomenal for a car which is being sold in this segment and at this price point. Well, the plus points of this motor first. Well, this motor, of course, is the same one which also does duty on the Maruti Suzuki Ciaz. And the best part about this engine is the fact that it's a very refined engine. It's a very smooth engine, and even when you rev it hard, the cabin remains very isolated from whatever's happening on the outside. So in that sense, it is very good. Maruti Suzuki really are the masters when it comes to ride and handling, and it's no different on the Brezza. This car is a very good mix of dynamic handling as well as comfortable ride. The steering wheel is pretty crisp. It offers you good feedback. When if you are someone who has driven the Maruti Suzuki Swift before, then there is a sense of deja vu when you drive this car, and I say that in a good way because this car feels as good a handler as the Swift does, and even when you push it into corners, this car does put a smile on your face. There's a little bit of body roll, but that is quite okay, because remember, this is at the end of the day a very tall car and a compact SUV. Well, the gearbox on the Brezza, just like most other Marutis, is a very slick unit. It's a very crisp unit, and the throws are very short and feel very sporty, along with the fact that the clutch is very light and also the steering wheel is relatively light, makes this car a very breezy one to park into tight parking spaces. Well, the ride quality of the Brezza is good, and it does offer you a very absorbent ride, and a lot of the credit for that goes to these big chunky tires on the outside. They are of course 16 inches, and that adds to the dynamics of this car as well. It feels very dynamic when you are pushing it into corners, and that, along with the fact that the engine has plenty of pep, makes this car a very good car for anyone who considers himself a keen driver. Well, this engine is pretty peppy and it is pretty responsive. Well, there is a little bit of turbo lag, which means that below 2000 RPM it doesn't really get going, but of course once you cross that, it's really an engine which flies all the way up to its rail line of about 4,500–5,000 RPM, and the mid-range is particularly strong. So if you are someone who travels a lot on the highway, then this car really does feel very good. So if you're on the highway and doing speeds of around 100–110 kph, the engine is spinning at a relatively low 21–2200 RPM, and that makes life inside the cabin a very calm and peaceful affair. Well, the high-speed manners of this car are very good. It feels very stable and it has a very flat ride. And what that means is that no matter how bad the road conditions are on the outside, this car will not feel unruffled at all and won't allow too many of those bad patchwork roads to enter the cabin. Well, Maruti have paid lots of attention to detail on this car, and of course it has these big mirrors on the sides which really do have a very good view of the road behind you, or the traffic which is behind you, and that also adds to the sense of driver involvement and the confidence that this car gives you every time you are on the highway or even when you are in the city. If you are someone who's driving the Maruti Swift at the moment, or any other premium hatchback for that matter, then the Vitara Brezza comes across as the most natural upgrade. This car offers you a roomy cabin, a long list of features, a very premium interior, as well as looks and style of an SUV. And all that, along with the big boot and that punchy diesel engine, means that this car really is the best compact SUV at the moment in India. But if you're not convinced about this car and want something else, then check out our review of the Ford EcoSport by clicking over here, and also check out our review of the Mahindra TU300 by clicking on this link over here. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's bye for now, and hope to see you soon.